How are we doing, guys? Welcome to the preview and the predicted lineup. Wolves against Arsenal. This is a massive game. Now, of course, we were meant to have the week off, but because we're in the Carabao Cup final, we now have to play the game that would have been that weekend, which is Wolves here. So, listen, at the end of the day, you've got to do what you've got to do. Now, a lot of people will say, why are Man City not playing their game, this midweek? Because they would have been playing Crystal Palace on the weekend of the Carabao Cup final. But the simple reason for that is because Crystal Palace are in the Europa Conference League playoffs this week, and that takes priority. So the Man City Crystal Palace game has to go in another midweek. Now, I've been speaking about this on and off over the last week or so, and as we're at this game, I can go into detail about it for the people that don't actually understand or know. Because of the schedule, the way that it is at the moment, in particular Man City with the Champions League and, FA Cup and all the rest of it, you've got to look and think, where will they put that fixture? At the moment, there is no free fixture. Now, if Manchester City get knocked out of the Champions League, that makes things a little bit easier. But the likelihood is that, they're going to go to around about the quarterfinals, maybe further. Who knows what, the situation is and where they go. So they can't put anything set in stone. If they do go far in the Champions League, then you're probably looking right towards the end of the season. It's a good couple of months. Now, the bonus of that for us, as long as we win this game, is that we're going to go 7 points clear. Now, let me make it clear. You have to win the game. And I think psychologically, this is where it's very, very important. Now, I'm looking ahead at other fixtures and stuff like that. And when you've got 12 games to go and you're in a title race, you are at that point where you will start looking now. And Manchester City are playing 4 times before we are in the next 6 games. Now, let's say we don't have this game against Wolves, or if we don't win this game, then the gap is 4 points. Man City play first. They narrow that gap to 1. They play first this weekend against Newcastle before we play Spurs. So we could go into that game against Spurs 1 point ahead. And then you start getting nervous and you start thinking, oh no, what's going on? But as long as we beat Wolves and we move it to 7, you're not worried about Man City having a game in hand, because that's whenever it is down the line. It keeps enough distance. Psychologically, it can play on their minds. It's 7 points. Where we can slip up and lose one game, we could win our next 11 games and the only one we lose is Man City, and we're still champions. But Man City cannot lose any more games. So the pressure's on them. They literally have to be perfect. So we go 7 clear. Man City then play Newcastle. They have to win. Bring that back down to 4. Games are level. We go to Spurs. If we beat them, it goes back to 7. And you keep that ticking over. And if you do that, like I said, the games keep going down and down and down. And also, when we get the opportunity of playing first, we could go 10 points clear. Double figures. Starts to play on your mind a little bit. And yes, Man City will have that game in hand, but they will always be playing catch up. And there's an old saying, and it's a very simple one. I'd rather points on the board than games in hand. So as long as we beat Wolves, we've done our job, 11 to go, and Man City will have to wait. That's how important it is psychologically. And listen, right now, there's been some very good news at Arsenal today, on and off the pitch. So the stuff off the pitch. Next season, there's going to be safe standing at Arsenal in sections. They have already started with the top tier, and I've noticed that over the last month or so. I noticed that come in. So ticket prices are going to be changing, and they're going to be doing certain things with category, an A and a B, if I remember rightly. And A is going to be for the Champions League when they move to the quarterfinals and beyond. And B is not, and that's with Champions League games and whatnot. So there's a lot of shuffling with, the ticketing next season at the Emirates and everything. And obviously safe standing and never getting told to sit down by the stewards and everything is going to be great. Help with the atmosphere. And we're moving with the times because this is what everybody's starting to do now. Kind of off the pitch as well, but on it is that Bukayo Saka looks like he's signed a new 5-year deal. I think it's absolutely fantastic news. It's massive news. Only a year left on his contract. And he is kind of the poster boy of Arsenal. We can all think back to those dark days of, many years ago. And there was that image of Bukayo Saka sat on the pitch and he looked dejected and he put a tweet out saying that Arsenal fans deserve better. And listen, we're so close. We are so close, but I don't want to get there yet, but we're so close. So this is fantastic news. Signing a new contract. On the pitch, definitely on the pitch, this news is that Ben White, Ricardo Calafiori are not injured and they're available for the game against Wolves, which is brilliant news. And even better news, we all thought that Kai Havertz was going to be out for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. He's not. He looks like he's about to join in with the group again within the next day or so. And he could be in the squad and in contention for the game against Spurs at the weekend. Like, how good is that? All of that good news surrounding Arsenal. I can't wait for tomorrow and some reporter somewhere from some shitty newspaper like the Daily Mail is going to try and piss all over it. Excuse my language. But, yeah, they'll try and find a reason. Oh, Mikel won't sign an autograph for somebody. Mikel has been told by security and the police not to open his window, sign autographs, take photos, etc. Security reasons. Listen, do I need to go into it? But no, everyone has to make such a big thing about it. Oh my God, Mikel, you nasty man. Good. Glad he never signed it. So yeah, I'm waiting for something. Before we play Wolves. What's the bets? They were on their afternoon walk and somebody wasn't spotted within that walk, or they weren't walking properly or in a straight line, or stop. So listen, it's all good at the moment. We get onto the game, playing Wolves, bottom of the league. I think they're already resigned to the fact that they're going to the Championship next season. When you look at some of the players that Rob Edwards brought in during the January, transfer window, I think that was already in mind for the Championship. They had a tough game at the weekend against Grimsby, mainly because of the pitch. That was a throwback to old school pitches. They were pitches like what I used to play on back in the day. That was an absolute mud bath. And listen, he's got a couple of injuries. He's going to be making changes. He's already said that. We need to go and get the job done. Be professional, be ruthless, just as we were in that first 25 minutes against Wigan. Be ruthless. Don't give me heart attacks and don't give me a kind of performance that I saw at the Emirates where we just about managed to get the win. But just go and get the 3 points. It's that simple. So yeah, listen, line up. I think it kind of takes care of itself in some respects, but there will be a few tweaks here and there. And yeah, this is what I would like Mikel Arteta to go with. In goal, David Raya. Back in goal, very simple. Right back would be Jurriën Timber. Had a nice rest at the weekend. Wasn't even in the squad, so absolutely fine. Next to him, William Saliba, back from his illness, got some minutes in his leg against Wigan, no issues. Next to him, Gabriel, again, a player that got a full rest over the weekend, so very straightforward. Left back, I believe it will be Nkapie. Again, another player that had his rest, and I've been really impressed with him over the last few weeks. I'm really starting to see, positive steps from him. And I think at the moment, he's probably first choice ahead of Calafiori. It's as simple as that. In the midfield, I'm going to go with Martin Zubimendi. Kind of got a rest at the weekend, came on, probably, didn't want to, but had to, but only got 15 minutes or so. No issues, simple. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Noni Madueke. In a bit of form at the moment, scoring goals, getting assists and doing well. And if he can continue that at the business end of the season, then I'm very, very happy. In that kind of number 10 role, I'm going to go with Bukayo Saka. Really liked him in that position against Wigan. Played there before. A lot of people might not remember it or seen it. And listen, he is so good in those positions. And I think that he's a better fit in that area of the pitch than an Eza, for example, who I believe is better on the left side rather than the right side. But Bukayo Saka being left-footed and his interchange with Madueke, I think that could be a big problem. And I think it's a great game to try it against Wolves. Next to him, Declan Rice had a rest at the weekend. Absolutely no issues, no drama. He starts the game. And then on the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Eberechi Eza. I think I'd like to see him again on that left side. I thought his performance against Wigan was really good. A couple of assists were beautiful. The first one in particular was just absolutely beautiful. And listen, he's got to perform in the big games now. It's as simple as that. And that's what I'd like to see. And then up front as the main striker, Victor Gyökeres. Kind of got a break at the weekend, but, came on... When he came on? Did he come on at half-time? Yeah, he came on at half-time, didn't he? But, yeah, so listen, he only got 45 minutes. It is what it is. But for this game, very simple. So listen, there we go. That is it. That's my lineup. I think that's a very strong lineup. I think that's a very, very strong lineup. That forward line looks quite exciting to me. I'd like to see it. Whether Mikel goes with it, I don't know. But I don't think we've got many other options in that kind of 10 position without Odegaard, Moreno, Havertz. I just think that the balance would be better suited to Saka than Eza in there and Eza go out on that left. Give him an opportunity again out there. So simple as that. There we go. That is it for the preview and the predicted lineup. Big game. Let's get the 3 points. And then we could talk about 7 points and Spurs at the weekend and all the rest of it. So, yeah, you know what to do if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you lot very soon. I'm out of here.